After pulling off most of the trim a few days ago, I went ahead and started filling up some of those holes. It was the first time I've used Bondo in quite a while. I did this one side, or at least for the most part. It still needs a lot of work. I also did some patch panels that I'll go ahead and show you in a little bit. But so far it's looking pretty good. I have a lot more to do, and this is just like some very simple stuff that shouldn't really take too long in comparison to what I have in mind for the rest of the body, such as the long nose and the rear end and everything else. It's just going to take a lot longer, but this is just something that I've wanted for a long time, and this is what it's going to take. So this is just some filler primer here. It's just fills up a lot of the scratches and everything. I didn't really use too light of a sandpaper, and then this is just to kind of cover off this chrome here. But other than that, all these holes that were in here, I'll show you on the other side, are filled in. A lot of this does need a lot of work. And then there's this little side marker here that was completely gone now. I'll show you on the other side. Tail light panel, whole tail light panel, all the tail lights and the thing to hold the license plate is all out of there. But all these holes here, and then this panel back here, I had to make a patch panel, weld that in there. I had to get rid of these and stuff, but so that's all covered up on the other side. But today I hope to get this whole side done, at least get it like the other side. I did a lot of just figuring out on the other side, so I wasn't really too sure exactly what I was doing. Should definitely move quicker than this side did. Hopefully I get this side a little bit more flat, and then get the other side just like this, and then hopefully later on this week I'll start moving on to either the long nose or kind of finishing off the back of this car. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, whip up a little batch of this Bondo. There's a little piece on this side that needs to be covered up, and then this side at least needs to be completely block sanded down, and then should be okay. I might need to do a little bit work in addition to just that one thing, but I just want to get this side completed, or at least to a decent level, and then get the other side to the same level as this one, and then at some point before the car gets painted or wrapped or whatever I decide to do later down the road, it is going to have to be completely body worked, probably by someone better than me. Alrighty, so just like the other side, I'm going to go ahead and grind this down, especially this adhesive for the trim. I'm going to go ahead, grind it down, weld up what I can, patch up that panel in the back, and then start applying Bondo, and then hopefully it turns out pretty well. So this whole side's ground down. I got that little plug that I need to cut a little bit of a piece of metal out for, but we'll do that a little bit later. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and try and plug these up with some weld and see how it goes. It is a little bit tough to weld this thinner metal, or at least for me. This is a Harbor Freight welder. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe I'm just a shitty welder. Alrighty, so just like before, I was kind of doing more harm than good while trying to weld these holes. That kind of bigger patch panel on the back, right over here, this is definitely going to get welded. I welded it, it was pretty easy on the other side. This here, I'm going to make a little patch panel, and then I have some magnets, hold it flush, and then weld that up. But for each one of these little holes, I'm going to go ahead and just take this, it's Bondo glass or something like that, and it's basically like Bondo, but it's basically fiberglass. It's just body filler, this stuff, I don't know, and I think that'll work pretty well. I actually was recommended that by a couple of people. I just want it to be a little bit stronger than just like putting Bondo in the holes, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this in there. I think that'll be the easiest and quickest and best way for me, since I am definitely not the best welder, and I don't really have a welder capable of welding those holes. Alrighty, so I just patched up all of these holes. I ground these ones down a little bit. I had to make some new, a new batch and do this. So this is going to be take a little bit longer to dry, but some of this I did grind this down a little bit. Obviously, after we do this, then we're going to Bondo over that and then smooth it all out, just like we're doing on the other side right now. And this side still needs this patch panel, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out right now. Ow! Bah!
Yeah, they're having fun. Oh, no, thank you. Alright, Tyler. Tyler, cinnamon rolls.
Oh!
What?
This burnt my crotch. Well, it's quite ugly. I started a mini fire in the trunk and I burnt a hole in my pants, but it will work. I gotta grind out the welds. I'm gonna go ahead and Bondo it all up, and then we gotta sand down this whole side. I'm gonna primer up, get that, it's kind of like filler primer, so it's a little bit thicker, kind of gets in all these grooves and everything. And I think that's gonna be it for today. I've been at this for quite a while now. Obviously not very quick process, and doing as much as I can as quickly as I can, but I'd like to at least try and take my time. And while that other side's been drying, since I did put a little bit less hardener, the first half of the other side dried super quickly. I put a little bit less, and now it's taking a little bit too long to dry. I've just been working on this side, just get it a little bit more flat. I'm gonna primer it because it's hard to tell with all these different shades to see how flat it is. So I'm gonna go ahead, wipe this down, primer it, see how flat it is. I know it's gonna need more work, but I'm not trying to get it super perfect. I just want it to be as good as possible without spending too long on it. Fuck. Alrighty, so I went ahead and sealed up this side. I'm gonna go ahead and grind down the other side a little bit, at least get one layer of Bondo on there and seal it up for today. It is getting a little late, so I don't want it to take forever to dry. We got this side pretty much to where I want it before I start Bondoing. I'm gonna go mix up a batch of Bondo right now, go ahead and lay it down on this thing, maybe make a couple passes with some sandpaper, and then I'm gonna go ahead and seal it, and that's gonna be it for the rest of today. But it's all looking pretty good. I don't know why, but I think because the heat warps it or something, but it kind of like, it's like sucked in right here, and the same thing on the other side too. But I'm not really too concerned because this is probably all gonna get body worked along with the taillight panel that I have planned, but interesting. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead, let this dry. Like I said, I'm gonna go over a couple passes of some sandpaper, go ahead and seal it up for today. I know I didn't really get a whole lot done, and I know that I'm not the best body person by far, but if you guys do have any suggestions at all, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. That's probably the best way to contact me, and let me know what would be the best way to approach this. Obviously I could look some YouTube videos up or something, but I don't really care. This is just kind of like me experimenting. It's my car. I want to do everything myself, and I just want to figure it out. But if there is a little bit easier way to do things, go ahead and let me know. This is where I'm going to end today's video. Obviously, this is taking pretty long, and I'm a little bit of a noob at it, but I hope you enjoyed today's video, and peace out.